In today's record label tip, I'm going to be discussing the 5 ways record labels make money. Now, what I've done is I've kind of bookmarked or bookended these tips with the 2 best, the first being the first tip and the 5th being the second best. All right, so these are, when it comes to real ways that record labels are making money, I mean, I'm a record label owner myself, so I have practical experience, but as an entertainment attorney, this is what my clients are doing to make real cash. Okay, so let's get right into it. The first way that record labels make real money is they will have label services that they provide on top of what they do as a artist representing label. Okay, so what I mean is that in addition to their roster of artists that they're going to be actively trying to grow their audiences, get them, shows and bookings, and to get the distribution, right? So if they're doing it directly or if they're going through a third party, setting aside the direct rosters, they will have a set of non-roster artists that they work with. Okay, so the thing that, and think about this, right? So if you're watching this video, you're a record label owner, you are trying to figure out a way to have a baseline of solid, reliable income. And when it comes to kind of your top tier artists, typically your artists that knock it out of the park, they're going to be touring, they're going to be selling merchandise. That's all great. But there are seasons of all artists, and maybe you don't have a knockout artist just yet. What you can do is with your non-roster artists, you have a baseline of services that you know how to do that artists need help with. Okay? And so that might be things like producing, mixing, mastering. And I see on the lower end of this, different labels charging something as low as, let's say, $500, right? If you're just kind of selling beats or licensing beats, maybe $2,000 a song, $3,000 a song. So if you look at your books for the month and you say, okay, we're going to have, maybe 5 to 10 non-roster artists that we work with and we assist in this capacity, has to be clear, we're not your label, we're not signing you, there's no contracts for, the record label agreement portion. It's just a services agreement. Beautiful. Now you have a baseline of like $10,000 that you can rely on to build on. But that's not all you know how to do as a record label, right? So besides producing music, it's also video production. A lot of my record label clients end up having, their film production crew. And the film production crew might be subcontractors, right? So you might be like, hey, we need a quick video. And so you have like John and Jill who do all your videos. And so you can come up with subcontracting rates, which works actually for every single one of these things I'm going to be talking about as far as non-roster artist services, right? So you can have someone that you contract the work to, and then maybe you just take a rip, right? So maybe instead of 100%, since they're doing all the work, right, then you're just taking 20%. So video production, but also website design, social media, getting accounts set up, making sure the social media handles are the same for the artists, marketing and branding, obviously setting aside any kind of legal questions and issues that come up. Marketing is probably the most important aspect of what artists need to learn and never teach themselves. And so if you have taken the steps to watch video tutorials and actually practice, right? Do test ads. And now you have an understanding of how to market. Well, guess what? That's an incredibly valuable service that artists are going to want to pay you for. And so you can do a flat fee and just be like, cool, we will do a campaign for you. You might run it, right, to promote a song. And again, doing a short campaign for $500, $700. It's a really nice way to have a baseline of revenue. But on top of marketing, assisting with live shows, right? There's companies that will just get set up for the sole purpose of putting together rosters and just being like, hey, on a Tuesday night, I'm going to have these artists who just want to perform. So I'm going to facilitate that as a service because I know it's only going to take a couple phone calls. I'm just going to have to put together an EPK. And then, of course, there's distribution. So if you end up going through platforms, even the DIY platforms like DistroKid, you can sign up as a record label and you can agree to distribute different artists' music. And so you have a very limited relationship. So, this is a short list of what a typical record label does for artists. So as, the one of the first and best ways to make money as a record label, just contract out the services and get hired. But make sure you are clear. Let me now give you a little caveat, okay? Make sure you're clear between the roster of artists that you represent, that you are kind of putting your brand with in association with everyone else who you're just providing services to. Because if you are not associating yourself with those artists, you don't want them saying, hey, this is my record label, because that's not accurate. And, quite frankly, sometimes I get some pretty sleazy record label agreements that are, delivered to my office to review, and, all they're doing is making a lot of promises and they're not going to come through. But if you are a legit business that knows how to do these things, that can actually help, then you're providing an incredible service for artists who do need this kind of help. All right, so number 2, when it comes to ways that record labels make money, what they'll do is repackage albums. Okay, so come up with alternate versions of albums because the album's already done. Okay, so this might be something as far as having a different version where they might call it like an instrumental or an acoustic. But really what producers do is that they'll go into the sessions, they'll mute different things. They might mute the vocals, they might mute the drums, mute the bass. And all of a sudden now you have this new version that didn't take any effort, like barely any effort, and no money. And now you can re-release it. You can also do remix EPs, right? So you're taking the same content. You get a bunch of producers and you'd be like, hey, we'll split the profits 50-50. Anytime you can get a subcontractor like a producer to come in, remix a music, hey, we'll put together a quick EP, then it's not actual effort on your part other than distributing it. And now you have that residual income coming on in. And of course, we have acoustic albums, we have live albums. So anytime that you can repackage and have that deluxe edition, remastered, best of, right? Then you're going to be able to not only market the original, right? Because now people will be like, oh, I really like that remix. What was the original again? So it's now getting more revenue streamlined into the record label, but it's now a new thing that the fans are going to love and be appreciative of. Number 3, when it comes to how record labels make money, label merchandise. Okay, so let me walk you through how I do this with my clients. When it comes to merch that you can sell, it's so smart, okay? Because merch sales and live shows are some of the best ways that artists get paid. And when artists get paid, you as the record label are going to get a share of that. We're going to talk about how that works and the applicable contract that you need to have in order to do this. But when it comes to that merchandise, you want to make sure you are selling as much as possible. But before you go and hemorrhage a bunch of money to purchase, let's say 100 shirts at even just $10 a pop, right? It's still going to be expensive. You're going to be forking out a couple $100 just for a short run of t-shirts or hoodies or whatever it's going to be. So what you can do is you can go through a print on demand service. And the two that I have used personally are Threadless and Printful. These two platforms are really nice because they do all of the order fulfillment. So basically all you have to do is to start an account and upload a picture. And then they'll say, what products do you want to sell that has this image on it? And you'll select all the things that you want, and then your store is ready to go. Now, the downside of doing this is that, they're going to take a big rip. So if you had, a $25 shirt, your actual payout might be like $4 to $8 from that, but it costs you nothing. And the reason why sometimes it's smart to start with some of your artists doing like a Threadless or a Printful account is because you need to make sure there's a demand there. As soon as you know that there's demand and someone is really loving a particular, let's say, artist or rapper, and you're going to be able to move 100 shirts in one day, no problem. Well, now it makes sense that you just front the cash, right? Pay the couple $100, and you're going to make 100% of the profits. And then it's no big deal. You can do order fulfillment. So it's a very, very smart move, but I say before you get to that step where you are setting up your own Shopify store and ordering the merch and having to fill it or fulfill it all yourself, 100% just do kind of these tests to set up an easy store, Threadless, Printful, and there's plenty of others. Just Google, print on demand services, but those are two that I've personally used. All right, number 4, when it comes to ways that record labels make money, live events and workshops. Okay. If you can get together, right, a little group, so you're like, hey, record label, blah, 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 we're putting together this event. It could be a live show, but you could do something like a workshop and you go, hey, we have this big name producer who did Katy Perry's last, single, or we have an entertainment attorney, right? Kids love getting together to hear, something from an entertainment attorney. And we're gonna charge $50 a pop Well, if you could get 200 people to come to your event, that's $10,000. You see where I'm going with this? So kind of, as a record label, having these little meet and greet events or live performances or just something that you put together, especially if you can get a location donated, so you don't even have the overhead of like renting a spot. Something that one of our clients has done a lot is to go to music studios, right? So that kind of has twofold purpose. You have artists that are coming in, the music studios want the artists to know about their services, and so they might let you host the event there for free. That's all fantastic. So there's ways to do this creatively, but I'm telling you, you can make a lot of money, and our clients have made a lot of money doing this. Now, before I get to the final tip, which may be the very best, okay, I feel like this is something that not everyone knows about, so I'm very excited for this one. But if you're serious about making a lot of money, which is what our clients are trying to do, record label owners are trying to scale to 6 figures, but they have to know how to do it right. I'm giving you a lot of practical tips here, but the biggest piece of this is learning how to stay legally protected. And that comes with contracts and the real know-how that you get from, let's say, hiring an actual entertainment attorney or hiring a law firm. Now, as you guys know, I am a real entertainment attorney. You can look me up, Delgado Entertainment Law. But, unfortunately, we're at capacity. I just can't help all of the record label owners that need assistance. So what we've done is we do have a course, and so I've packaged it together, which has everything. It has all the tutorials, it has all of the contracts, and your investment of time is one afternoon. Okay? It can feel like it's going to be kind of this big hurdle, but it's not. It's one investment of an afternoon, and there's 9 contract templates that come with it. For our clients, this costs them like $7,000. Okay? But for me, I am a record label owner myself, and I've been through this process, and I had to go to law school to learn everything that I know. And while I can't help everyone with this course, our enrollment is still open. And what I'm trying to do at this point is for the last 13 spots that we have available, we're at 87 students right now, but for the last 13 spots, I want to make it so that the people who have been waiting to get this course, which is $997, even though you should have $997. I'm sorry, if you're a record label owner and you are serious and you're going to tell me you don't have that to invest in yourself and into your company, then I would say you probably aren't ready to grow your record label. But because I know there are those of you that have been waiting for this, I'm doing a 50% off for those last 13 spots. Okay? So what you get with it, of course, lifetime access, you're getting the contracts, you get the tutorials, but it's also a 30-day money-back guarantee. I've never had a student ask for a refund, which I'm grateful for. I'm glad that you guys find this very helpful. So if you're interested, click that link down below to learn more. And guys, I wish you the best of luck with kind of your journey. So now let's get into the spicy number 5. Okay, so number 5, when it comes to the best ways to make money as a record label, let's talk about monetization on social media. For the longest time, you could not monetize most social media platforms. I think the one that most of us are, accustomed to is monetization on YouTube, but platforms like Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, right? So all these different platforms that we've been posting to, we wouldn't be able to actually monetize to make money from our efforts. Now we can. So let me give you my actual practical experience on this. So going back to the standard relationship that you have with your artist in your record label agreement, which by the way is in that course, you need to have a record label agreement that defines things like you own all the rights to the music, but then also things like ancillary rights. Ancillary rights to income means the label is going to be able to take a piece of the pie from all the stuff that the artist makes in the artist's career. And the reason why this matters is because you're not going to get paid, or reimburse your advance that you paid to the artist, the expenses, the studio time, the music videos. You're probably not going to get reimbursed from music streams. But you can by taking a small share of earnings from merchandise, from live performances, from all this other stuff that you can help your artists with meaningfully. So, stereotypically labels are taking anywhere from like 10 to 20%, but something you need to think about is when we monetize on social media, we're getting paid to just do what we got to do to market ourselves. Okay? So specifically, Facebook, otherwise known as Meta, has recently started paying on social media and having these bonuses and overlay ads. My personal experience with bonuses is that, I, for example, had on just one of my platforms, over the course of like 2 weeks, Facebook paid me like $900. And that was just simply for kind of my average reach, which is not insanely more than any other average independent artist that's doing their thing, that's hustling. And so what that means to you as a label is that if you have 10 artists that are actively online monetizing, you are entitled to a portion of that revenue, right? So now you had $200 from this artist, $500 from this artist. And so collectively it adds up every 2 weeks. And then it adds up every month, every 2 months. Do you see where I'm going with this? So I don't know how long this is going to be a thing. Okay, so, Facebook, Meta recently rolled this out in recent months. And, right now, you want to utilize Reels. I can't stress this enough. As a label, you want to get with your artists and you want to make sure that they are posting their videos as Reels and they're doing Reels as much as humanly possible. From their little viral content to just promoting the song, if they're dancing. I mean, I don't know what your artists are doing, but it can be anything. And I might, depending on the reaction to this video, and if you guys request, leave a comment down below. But if you want, I might even show you my entire process, right? So as not only a label owner, an entertainment attorney, but as an independent artist myself, right? I'm actually practicing what I preach. And so to show you how I make the content, which is actually very easy, very fast, but then how I use one piece of content to distribute over like 16 platforms. And then how those various platforms can then generate a lot of revenue. It's not just Facebook, it's not just Instagram, it's not just Reels. But that's the one that's paying really good right now. And so get in while you can and use this as a method as one of the things that your artist is doing to generate revenue, because it's twofold. Again, the more that the artist is seen and becomes popular, the more that the music is streamed, the more the people come to the show, the more they buy the merchandise, but the more the social media platforms are going to pay you. So if you guys are interested, leave me a comment and maybe I'll do a full thing of like showing you how to make the content, but also how to upload it, because it took me a while to figure this out. It's not commonly known online how to actually upload 2 Reels on Facebook. I think Instagram is a little more intuitive, but in any case, I gotcha either way. So guys, make sure, of course, if you haven't yet, like this video. When you actually like the video and subscribe, it tells the channel that, and the YouTube world, that this is useful. And so if you've watched this long, it means the world, and it will help this video get out to other record label owners who need the help. And that's what I do on this channel. A lot of our clients are independent artists who decided to become their own record label owners, and I think that's amazing. That's definitely what I decided to do, and I just love your faces, so I appreciate the support.